Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and that ending was perfect because I'm going to remind him when I did speak in the legislature on the issue of recall. Mr. Speaker, it's my honour to speak to Bill 208, the Recall Act, put forward by the member from Calgary-Glenmore. This bill will allow constituents to recall an MLA that has failed to live up to their promises. Legislation like this has been proposed in the House in the past. Are you listening? And I spoke for it then, and I speak for it now. In 1996, Dr. Nicol, then member for Lethbridge East, put forward Bill 206, and I had to say, I believe there is no better way to meet the concerns of Albertans about accountability in political life. And it proves to our voters that we take their concerns and their views seriously. Bill 206, in my mind, will help put the trust of the electoral back into this legislature. If there is one thing I believe in after all my time in government, it's accountability. If someone doesn't deliver on their promises, they should lose their privileges. Bill 208 addresses the weaknesses in our system. It allows not only members to stand up, but the people of Alberta to stand up and be heard. The bar is set quite high by the contents of this bill. Some will say, won't we have numerous elections? No, the recall bill will require 33% of eligible votes. Another obstacle to a recall is the issue of money. To be truly grassroots, you need to keep money as separate as possible. And the member that just spoke brought that up. The rules are clear in this bill. No one can be paid. We can't have a process hijacked by special interest. People are concerned about money in regular politics. It can't be said that money will control the recall process. It will be truly a grassroots movement. People who are against this bill will make an argument to me all the time. They say, you wouldn't have crossed the floor if this bill was in place. Of course I would. If this bill was in place, I would have done the same thing all over again. I followed my convictions, and the people of Calgary Fish Creek would have supported me. I can tell you what would have been different if a bill like this was in place. This government wouldn't have passed some of the legislation it did. Bill 50 took rights from property owners, and it put it in the hands of Cabinet. Public consultation has been reduced to the point of uselessness. Rural Albertans are furious. Quite frankly, a lot of government members wouldn't have voted for that bill if this legislation was in place. The people of British Columbia have had legislation in place for years. The power of recall is obvious to everyone. The current government in British Columbia misled the people it was supposed to represent. Because of its laws, upset citizens didn't have to wait till another election. They could take action right away, and they did. The momentum that built has led to the Premier of British Columbia resigning. I know how much that must scare this government, and it should. As I travel this great province, I hear frustration all over the place. Many have put their frustration to great use. The Wild Rose Caucus stands here today, stronger than ever, because of the fears this government has for the people of Alberta. I find it strange, though, that people have to start an entirely new party to make real change and impact in politics. It shouldn't be that way. I talk to my constituents in Calgary Fish Creek, and they can't believe how hard it is to go get real representatives in the legislature. What constituents want is an elected member that stands up for what they believe in. They want a member that is accountable, and quite frankly, the people aren't getting what they want, or they're not getting what they need. The current health care debate is an example. The member of Edmonton Meadowlark voiced his concerns over the way the emergency room crisis was being handled for over 2 years. The member is still an emergency doctor. He knows the issues intimately and expertly, yet he was silenced by this government and now given the boot. Amazing. How very sad. Absolutely. There is no issue closer to the hearts of myself and Albertans about health care. The government has shot down recall legislation before. Why is it so afraid to allow the recall of a member? I think it's because they realize the power rests with government when it should be in the hands of the people. Hear, hear. The grassroots are where the real Albertans are. They're not in the Premier's office. My constituents in Calgary Fish Creek tell me that they want a member that truly represents their issues. This legislature is based upon the fact that one member represents one area. While they are free to contact any MLA, their first point of contact is the member's office in their constituency. Albertans take pride in their communities and they take pride in their neighbourhoods. It means something to have a spokesperson for their area. Even if a constituent votes for a party that did not win in their riding, they still take great pride in being part of that political process. They want to say to this MLA that I'm proud of him or I'm proud of her. But sometimes they lose respect and pride. There are some people that get into office and don't take it seriously. Sometimes they just ran for the party and they didn't expect to win. Maybe they just didn't know what they were getting into. Other times, they are just really selfish and they want the perks of the office and they forget about the important responsibilities. So, what are constituents supposed to do? We have a first-past-the-post system. A member doesn't need to win a majority of the votes. They just need one more vote than second place. No system is perfect, but people certainly want to know why improvements aren't being made. The people of Alberta don't want to wait 4 or 5 years for another general election. It is said in politics, a week is an eternity.
Oh, no kidding.
We've been in a session less than 1 month, and much has happened just on the healthcare file. Years is too long to wait when the people are being let down by their MLAs. Quite frankly, the people in this province demand better. Some MLAs misrepresent themselves in the public square. There is a great deal of power that is entrusted to this Assembly. Some bad apples out there will do or say anything to get in. What happens if someone lies and get elected based on these lies and then the truth is revealed midterm? Public pressure is a powerful force, but the rule of law is stronger. The people I talk to want engaged representation. When there is 5 years between elections, it is easy for an elected member to lose enthusiasm for the job midterm. Motivation isn't a problem for me because I, quite frankly, are more energetic than ever. But it's easy to get comfortable and ride out of the term. Albertans demand safeguards and law that ensures that they have the best representation that they can get. In closing, I fully support Bill 208, the Recall Act. I supported legislation like this before, and I continue to do so now. When Albertans are outraged, they deserve a democratic outlet, not a letter to the editor. If a member doesn't do the job they're promised to do, Albertans need a way to get rid of them. Thank you.